So some of you have probably heard of Turo. Turo is a peer-to-peer car renting service, kind of like Airbnb, but for cars. And you're probably wondering, can I make enough money off of Turo to fund my Tesla Model 3 or subsidize some of that Tesla Model 3 cost or your Tesla Model Y costs? I've actually had my Model 3 Performance Stealth for over a year now, and it's actually been listed on Turo for almost that whole period of time. I actually made a video where I recorded my first rental and going through the whole process of renting it to that person. Watch that video if you wanted to see what happened, because there was an incident to that car, but at least we were able to take care of it. So since my Model 3 has been listed on Turo for over a year now in Los Angeles, I wanted to make a video to go over how many trips my Model 3 has taken, how many miles were driven on it, and what my net was in terms of how much I've made renting my Model 3 out on Turo, and any of the incidental costs and other miscellaneous costs, and how many miles have been put on my car for my Tesla Model 3 being rented in the Los Angeles area for the past year. So welcome back to the channel, and thanks for watching another video. Let's get onto the computer and go over all the different trips off of Turo.com for my Tesla Model 3. Alright guys, so this is my 2019 Tesla Model 3 Performance Stealth that I've been renting out on Turo. It's pretty dirty right now. I haven't actually washed it for a couple weeks, but one funny thing, I actually had a Turo rental the other week. You might be able to see, you might not be able to see, but there's fingerprints all over the hood because they actually drove the car up to Malibu and they used it to take pictures of themselves while in Malibu. But besides that, my car has been largely unscathed. There hasn't really been any damages except for 3 out of the 4 rims. They were curbed. You can see right here, there's a little bit of curvage. I actually did one of them myself, but there's 3 renters that basically curbed my rims, and I was able to get around $100 to $150 per each incident, which more than covers the cost of getting them repaired in LA. But you can see here, I think now basically all my rims are curbed. This is probably the worst one where it probably covers about 40% of the rim, a little bit up there and then a little bit down there. But you can see almost, yep, all my rims are curved. Maybe this one's even worse. This one is curved all the way around, which really isn't that big of a deal. Rim repair in Los Angeles is about $100 to $200, and I could probably get a deal if I did all of them all at the same time. So I've really just been waiting. These rims I don't really care for too much. They're really just my daily driver rims. In terms of tires, that's probably the big question. The last time I measured the tires was about 10,000, maybe about 7,000 miles ago, and they were about 4.5 millimeters, which gives it about another 2 millimeters, I believe, for tire life before I need to replace them. So I probably have until about 25,000 miles before I need to replace them, which it's debatable whether the Turo renters actually accelerated the wear down of the tires, which would then cost me more money to replace them, kind of offset the money that I made from the Turo possibly. So yeah, this is my Tesla Model 3 that's on Turo that I've basically only taken 6 to 7 trips so far. So I've actually had my car on Turo almost as long as I've had it. I got it in September or actually August of 2019, and I probably listed it on Turo actually a few weeks or a few months later. And I've done not that many trips on Turo using my Tesla Model 3. But let's jump into my listing here. You can see that currently I have it set at $150 a day, and unfortunately I can't make it any less than that. And that's probably why I'm not getting that many trips. I've heard that when people look on Turo for cars, they don't necessarily care what tier of the Model 3 they're looking for. They just want the Model 3 in general. So they don't care if it's a standard range, a long range, or even a performance with full self-driving. They just want to drive a Tesla Model 3. I'm probably one of the only few Tesla Model 3s on Turo that's a performance and has full self-driving. So someone has to be very niche or very looking for that particular model to try and find my car. So it's listed at $150 a day, and in terms of trip history, I think I've only taken like 6 trips off of Turo. You can see my earnings for just 2021. I was fortunate to get a trip earlier this year on I think January 2nd. But in terms of last year, I only took 1 trip in February, and really all my trips were in 2019, where right after a month I got the car, I was able to take a handful of trips as well. I actually made a video where I go over my whole Turo process and all the different things you should keep an eye out for and what to track when you rent your car. So check out that video down below if you're interested in that. But pulling up my spreadsheet, which tracks all the different metrics that when I look for in my Turo, you can see here how many trips I've taken, how many days there were, the mile start and mile end, how many miles have been put on the vehicles in total for the trips, how much Turo charged the customer as a Turo rate plus their fees, and then my net cost or my net profit after their fees as well. So you can see right off the bat, there's some pretty good ones here. You typically don't want a 1-day trip, but you want multiple days. So right off the bat, I got a 1-day trip, then a 2-day trip, and then another 1-day trip after that. And you can see each of these times I made about $87.10. One of the trips here, the renter actually rented it for 2 days and they paid me a $17 recharge fee, which was actually really cool. Unfortunately, early on, I think my first 3 trips, 3 of my rims got curbed, but thankfully all of the renters settled it and they all paid me to $100 to $150 each to get the rims repaired. So that was really nice. If you want to watch that video, I documented all that, in which going through the whole process and finding out that the rims were actually curbed and trying to get the money back. It was a little bit stressful, but actually it worked out in the end. One weird trip that you can kind of consider Turo, there was a renter here on September 1st where a renter actually reached out to me because they wanted to rent it just for a day. And then he actually just called me saying that he just wanted to test drive the vehicle and talk to someone who owned a Tesla Model 3 to get their experience. And he just paid me $65 for about 30 minutes of my time to drive and talk about the car, which was actually really cool. And I would say he drove only about 15 miles because he went on the highway and then drove it right back with me in the car the whole time. And the last one, which was on January 2nd, was when Turo actually raised the rates to $150 a day, and I actually netted at $105 for that 1 day. I'm actually on the Turo 70% plan. I net 70% of the trip costs for a higher insurance protection through Turo instead of another insurance policy. But that renter actually drove all the way to Malibu and back and put exactly 100 miles on my Tesla Model 3, which is actually my 1-day rental limit, which if you're gonna rent your car in Turo and it's your Tesla, you should definitely put a 100-day mile limit on your car so that you can charge overages, because each mile actually has a cost associated with it that can affect your balance. So in total, from Turo, over the course of a year and 6 months, give or take, I've made $600 over 7 trips, which isn't a whole lot. That's barely enough for 1 month of payment or even 6 months of insurance. But I mean, that's better than nothing, of course. And I was able to make some money off of it sitting around, especially during the pandemic where it's been sitting a lot more frequent because I don't use it as much. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this, and if you guys rent your Tesla Model 3 or Tesla Model Y on Turo as well, and what your experience is. I'm in the Los Angeles area where a Tesla is just as frequent as a Civic, so there's definitely a lot of competition, especially with the short range versions and the long range version Tesla Model 3s and Model Ys. Comment below on what you think of this, and if you rent your own Tesla on Turo, your experiences as well. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!